It's Mr. Christopher, the Funkatopia radio show, and we always like special guests because we always like to hear background stories on a variety of different things. And I have one of the originators, godfathers, pioneers of the jazz scene, especially London back in the late 80s, early 90s, and eventually ended up becoming a worldwide phenomenon over the decades. It's an honor to welcome one of the original founders of the brand new Heavies, Simon Bartholomew. What's up, man?
I'm good, man. Yeah, just over here in London in the lockdown, enjoying a rainy day today with a grey sky, classic London style, but it's been quite good weather generally. I'd like to say more than a creator, I'm more of a conduit, I think, for a music, which has now become a verb or a thing like that. I think since we started doing it, what happened in London was some guys started playing like basically unheard of, unfound, rare groove, it was called at the time. Mm-hmm. You know, Black American music. And people were going to America collecting records, even going to radio stations in the middle of nowhere, and there'd be one band that had made like 10 copies of a 7-inch, and they'd find it, and this is now available. Like, you know, Kenny Dope does these things with Keb Darges and like a Londonite. But we were going to this new club called the Cat in the Hat, and that's where we started hearing this music and inspired us to start kind of playing in the funky.
So who were some of those bands that you guys were listening to back in the days?
Well, some of the big numbers was like, you know, some of the big tunes were like I Believe in Miracles, the Jackson Sisters, James Brown. They would also play like Headhunters.
Always got a Herbie Hancock. You always got to add them in there. Absolutely.
Yeah, with a whole guitar solo, and that's got that long, fast solo. That's always fun. Like.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, it was quite niche, and people were very protective about the records, and they were quite rare. I can't remember everything else. You know, you might hear Superstition as well, because that's pretty funky. Stevie Wonder, and and there was just one club, and then it started spreading, and it was like amazing. At the same time that kind of, I guess, hip hop was happening in America, people digging in crates, digging for old records. I think people thought our record was an old record because the first version was a blue cover just with the logo on it. Mm-hmm. So no one knew if it was a new thing or an old thing, and it kind of was made in an old way to sound old. Yeah. Oh, the original one was before that. There's an English one, just the logo.
Yeah,
but that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
So this logo, that logo there in the upper corner.
That was just on the cover. But the that one has Never Stop on it, whereas the English release didn't have Never Stop. We added that on.
Oh, really?
And that got to number 3 in the R&B charts.
And, on our R&B charts,
yeah, and amazing. You know, I went to America. I was like a kid. We're like, wow. It was really something else, man. To come to America, the home of it all, Sesame Street and all this Starsky and Hutch and stuff.
So we love that culture. We love that kind of looking back, and we're a little bit trapped in like arrange this better. We're kind of like trapped in a time warp for whatever reasoning that is. We love the 70s, we love the 60s, we love that stuff. But you know, it's just, and we're doing it now again. You know, we kind of went through that phase, and then we came out and said, okay, well, what's new? And then after that, we're like, okay, we're back here again. Now we're wanting to rehash all the old stuff, all the old movies, that's just kind of the way that it was.
My theory around that
cyclic,
is that also that the way things are made, and this is something I don't know if it's really true, but you know, when you had to edit film and you needed bigger teams of people and big cameras and all that effort, when you had a band, you had to get 3 to 5 guys together. You know, now you can just sit on a laptop and it's less human interaction. And I think that has led, and also the commercial aspects have led to sort of, you know, less original stuff being made perhaps. And that's why people are going back and remaking the old ideas, because the new ideas aren't coming through. And I don't know if it's in the way, that's why people are sort of sampling. It sounds so great because the old records are made on Valve desks and everything like that. And now with the digital age, There's definitely a different sound, but yeah, it's a different world, isn't it? Everything's the outlets are different.
Totally different.
Well, I think there's all the efforts in production of stuff. You know, it's worth making the effort to carry your drums around your friend's house and do that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, so tell me, you know, how the brand new Heavies came into existence, because I know, I guess originally you guys were Diana Brown and the Brothers, and then it was Brothers International, or was that preceded you, or what? You know, how did this hierarchy? I guess how did this lineage happen to brand new Heavies?
Well, like I said, that club, the Cat and the Hat Club, we were sort of jamming in the drummer's bedroom, and then we made a cassette because his dad had this pretty high quality mic, a nice sort of like field recording kit. So we recorded like 3 tracks on the cassette and took it to these dudes, kind of like quite sheepishly, you know, and they played one of the tracks, and we were like, wow, and people didn't even know it was old or new because all the tracks were kind of funky sounding anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So people just carried on dancing, and then those guys joined the band. That was Barry Sharp. His girlfriend was Dinah Brown. So she became the singer, and so our first gig was in their club. So it was like one Christmas. I don't know what year it was. It might be late 80s, you know, might be like 88, 89.
Right. Yeah. We found that clip.
He was so shy, he couldn't even. He just faced his back to the audience. You know, we were really young. We were young. You know, like very unconched.
Well, and you know what's funny? You said Andrew did that. It was funny because I remember when I was.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember when the first time I performed as a vocalist, I was playing with a band, and I had one of those Jim Morrison moments where I was singing, and then for some reason, it was one of my first live shows. I couldn't face the audience. Like the whole time, I was singing to the drummer, and the drummer's like, "Turn around!" And, I did great, but. You know, I couldn't face the audience. But then after that show, I told myself, you know what? I'm never doing that again. I'm never going to be in a scenario where where I'm not going to entertain. People are here to be entertained, and you know, it's my job.
Interesting you say that. I've made a few decisions like that, and in the early days, we were playing at the WAG, the Whiskey A Go Go, in Soho. When the scene was slightly expanding, that was the next club to do like a sort of funky night, and I found this amazing 3-piece 70s suit with the lapels, like the waistcoat, perfectly fitting, flares and everything. And I was in bed the night before, and I thought, you know, tomorrow I'm going to walk over the other side of the stage, all 5 feet of it, because it's quite a small stage, and go over to Andrew and go like, you know, do some like my first rock and roll antics.
Right, yeah.
I walked over to him. And he just looked at me like, "What the fuck are you doing?" So I was like, I walked back again. That was what, like, so you have to go through these phases. A lot of people do.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're back to the stage and you get your confidence. That's called cutting your teeth, isn't it? And
yeah, it's making those conscious decisions that this is what I'm going to do. I'm all about it. This is, you just have to be able to perform. And of course, from that day forward, my show was always vastly different.
Look at Radiohead. I mean, what are they doing?
He still can't do it.
Great.
He still has anxiety.
They're millionaires. Get some bling, baby. They can afford it.
But he still has stage anxiety.
Isley Brothers in '76.
Yeah, and I don't know this to be true. That could be wrong, but I still believe that he has stage anxiety. Because you never see him make eye contact with the audience. You never see him make eye contact. It's always, he's always down or closing his eyes or somewhere else. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe he just, you know, and you know, same thing with XTC. I mean, he was the same way. Andy Partridge was the exact same way. He had that stage anxiety when he got on the stage. It was just like he loved to perform, but it was really a lot of nervous energy, and he didn't feel like he could, you know. And I don't think until he got on the regular touring with the Police, I don't think he ever kind of got into his comfort zone. And
interesting, I didn't know that because I started. I knew XTC, their singles, you know, like
Players
for Nigel, but there's a show this guy Ian Beerbout, and he had this show called Prog Rock Deep Cuts. And it was kind of, I don't know, I just found it on Mixcloud or something. And because he was young, and his favorite is Jethro Tull and Zappa and stuff. So you hear, but he was playing like bands like Knife World and XTC, but the more like really, and it's a really interesting show because you're like, sometimes you don't want to hear the same old generic genre-based kind of stuff. And this was a nice show because it was like old and new.
Right.
There were some fantastic bands on there that sell out venues like French kind of prog and stuff like that. You never heard of.
I still got a couple of Jethro Tull albums back there. Yeah, that was my whole realm. I love it. Ian Anderson's a monster. That guy.
He's a killer. He's got the funk, on that thing, and
yeah, he definitely had. So and here's something interesting. You guys were talking. You were talking about the younger band, and for those of you who are joining us too, we're not doing this live. We're going to pre-record it and then we're going to release it. But you guys probably saw the title down there that said Andrew Levy and Simon Bartholomew. And we're waiting for Andrew to get here. So for right now, I took down that banner because if Andrew joins us, he joins us. If not, it's all good because we're digging it. It's fun.
Andrew, we've tried all manner of communications. I feel like ducking off the screen and coming back down the floor. Like Andrew Levy, I feel like.
There you go. Welcome, Andrew.
Everybody say Andrew Levy. Here we go.
Anyway, so but it's funny because we got this clip, and I'm going to play it. I think the people here will be able to hear it. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this or not, but it's a clip from Prince talking about Diana and the Brothers. He refers to it was Diana Brown and the Brothers, but Prince is referring to you guys as Diana and the Brothers, and hopefully you can hear this clip. Let's see if I'll play it. It will be let's see.
So my company in Prince.
Yeah, there you go. And for those who hear some of the things he said, he obviously said that you guys had 16 members in your band. Was that true? You guys had 16 members at that time?
There was one show we were going to do, and weirdly, and we did have like dancers, like 3 or 4 horns, and then someone's like set some kind of like incendiary device off in the venue, like a smoke bomb or something like that. But it was basically like percussion. It wasn't really 16-piece, no, but there must have been an interview because I remember we would talk about stuff like that in interviews in like more like London-based magazines, like we want to record onto tape. And if we didn't have a deal then, that's something else. We might have been in between deals.
Well, he said at the end of that piece, he said something to the effect that you guys had made a decision that you weren't going to record unless you could do it live. So, which is, I think that was the last thing he said. Let's see what he says.
Yeah, because we did make one record for Cool Tempo, Got to Give, and then Acid House became really big. And Cool Tempo was like a subsidiary, like a dance label. A lot of major labels, in a way, they would start a dance subsidiary to have more like black music or more like dance music on, whereas their poppy thing was a bit like MTV was kind of like a bit poppy.
Right.
You might have like a subsidiary, like a side thing. So it's like a different. Anyway, so we got dropped by them. Danny D actually signed us from D-Mob, who had a few hits, wearing yellow raincoats and stuff. And that's why Acid Jazz started, because there was Acid House, and Acid House had this like smiley face as its kind of like logo. And Acid Jazz, Giles Peterson and Eddie Pillar started this label with Acid Jazz as a kind of a joke, like Acid House, Acid Jazz. And so we signed to Acid Jazz, who were, you know, like just so independent, like two guys in a room as big as your office there, you know, like, or whatever. I don't know how big your office is. It's pretty like Pan Round. It's a big.
Yeah, it's pretty. If I cleared everything out, I could get a band in here easily. Yeah, I've certainly practiced in rooms smaller than this.
And I fact, their first office was a mezzanine where the office stored all their paperwork, and they had a little desk in there, and that was like literally it in Old Street. But yeah, that's how that kind of thing of that.
And you guys, did you ever meet Prince? Did you ever get an opportunity to hang out with him? Okay, so tell me about that.
Massiveapolis? No, Minneapolis.
Massiveapolis, yeah. That's probably what they're calling it now.
The Windy Apple, as it's called. Minneapolis.
Yeah.
All right, but anyway, we played there. And
at Paisley Park or in a venue in Minneapolis?
This might be before Paisley Park was all built and constructed.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Early on, I'm not quite sure of the timelines of it all. And I met this girl afterwards, just chatting to her, and she was cute. And she had been going out with Granny Levitz, also known as Lenny Kravitz, who I've met. I've met him in London and stuff. Really cool guy. And he was doing the funky rock thing, which I'm into because I'm a guitar player. I'm into my funky rock, so I was loving it all. And he had sold a song that she had written, and I think, we can date this now. I think.
Yeah, because that would have been late '80s probably for Lenny Kravitz, because
everything's a bit more fully expanded and blown up then.
Yeah.
So I think it was Vogue. So probably Paisley Park was in existence, and she was like, "Do you want to meet Prince?" Because he was in the club, at the back of this club. There was like a big balcony, and he was sitting on a table there with a couple of security guys, and we had like a brief chat. You know,
what did you guys talk about? Do you remember?
Just like it was like, you know, it's your first time. It kind of like he was very polite actually, and not sort of like in your face, you know. Like it was like,
right.
It was like, "Oh, is this your first time in Minneapolis? You know, what do you think of the city?" Kind of like,
right. Like he was the ambassador of Minneapolis. What do you think of my city?
And I had a cigarette. I just had a cigarette. He didn't smoke. I was a bit like, maybe I shouldn't be smoking. We chatted for a minute, you know. And that was, you know, but he was. We saw him a couple of times. There was another club in Minneapolis, I think, or somewhere we were, and there was a kind of like, it's quite a small club, but really happening place. And there was like dancers on this mini stage, and then a kind of a hole you could see through from the VIP area, so you could see like the dancers in the club, and we're sitting in there, and Prince, like 2 nights in a row, we're in there, and Prince turns up. We didn't really speak to him because he's like. A bit he's like just Prince.
Right.
No, he just exists.
He's Prince.
And he was wearing this freaking amazing like orange toweling one piece, zip up the front, kind of like immaculate, you know, like
of course.
Just like so you almost couldn't speak to the deity that he appeared as, you know. And then we played in LA.
Exhausting. That's just gotta be exhausting to have to be like prim and proper and perfect every fucking day.
I think he loved it. That's him. He just likes to feel that, and I think he's in it, man. I think he wasn't like, oh no, not another. He's like, I know I'm going to make an orange toweling suit one piece. I get a big zipper like that, and he's probably going to get it for him. You know, it's like, wow, if I had the resources, man, I wouldn't wear this old thing.
But
he And then we met him another time. We did this gig for the Grammys, and a load of people played, and that was really fun as well.
Yeah, I think he was really into you guys just from. I mean, he had heard about you first. That's where he was talking about in the clip. He had heard about you guys.
Okay, right.
And then so I think it's really really cool that he kind of gets to the point where he's actually coming to your shows and checking you out. I mean, that's got to be. I mean, that's an honor in itself. It's just a
yeah.
To know that he thought enough about it. Yeah,
he was there at the end of the show as well. He didn't leave halfway through, which is the true testament.
That's always good.
Yeah. So,
all right, enough of that. I'm out.
yeah. And I've really recently got much more into Prince. This, I can recommend this incredible. I'm not sure what album it is, like Dirty Mind or something, and it's supporting Rick James, and I think he's really, by the sound of the crowd, he's kind of like on the edge of like being the new guard.
Yeah, I think there was everybody that he opened for. There always seemed to be a point of contention. I mean, when he opened up for the Rolling Stones,
I've seen that. Yeah, that's awful. Yeah,
that was just a horrible experience for them. I had interviewed Brown Mark about just a couple weeks ago, and yeah, he was talking about how that whole experience was just a virtual nightmare. And
there's a YouTube video about that. Have you seen that? I'm talking about it.
Yeah. I've seen the clips of shit flying.
I know. Thoughts of piss, man. Oh god.
Oh my god.
And then it's not ready, didn't they? But that's kind of like rock and roll fun. I think people don't mean like there's a few rock festivals like in the late 80s. Like metal was kind of big, and it was what you did was you piss in a bottle or a can and you throw it. It was a friendly, sort of
friendly.
It was not to really damage and hurt. I'm not sure, but maybe I don't know. I don't know in their case. I can't comment, but it was just what you did. People threw. It was punk, people threw stuff.
Did you have bottles or cans of piss thrown at you, Simon? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Okay, that's good. It's the wrong style of music. It's not really the acid jazz.
Yeah, more like. I think with the Rolling Stones fans, maybe if you support the Stones, you might get a few more like cats like that instead. Yeah.
Well, so some consider you to be, one of the pioneers or godfathers of acid jazz. I mean, you had mentioned that there was other things that were going on prior to that you kind of feel. Who were some of your major influences as far as guitar is concerned? Like, who are you really looking at to kind of build off of where you are now?
When I was I had an older brother, and we had the John Peel show, which is on in the evening. He played he broke a lot of bands, and he was very eclectic, from like reggae to craft work to all sorts of stuff. It wasn't really making the pop thing. I've always kind of never really followed pop, but gone a bit underground. And there was where I lived. There was a few squats, and we had bands like, my first love actually in guitar was I was fascinated with American rock and roll. And it was very, it was like the 70s, so you couldn't just go online or get it. You couldn't find it anywhere in shops, really. It was this sort of like, I had like 4 albums. You get when you're a kid, when you knew them inside out. Mm-hmm. And like Cochrane, it's a big number. Buddy Holly, and it's kind of like really nice stuff to go and good for your left and right hand, not good rhythm stuff. Great sounding record still to this day. And I had like there's this band called The Shadows that was Cliff Richard's band. Now Cliff Richard was this sort of English Elvis.
Right.
We're going on a summer holiday. And so The Shadows had this 20 Golden Greats. So it'd be like Apache, dang-ga-dang, ga-dang-ga-dang,
right,
and stuff like that. So I was learning off that kind of stuff. And as time went by, my brother, he was discovering like, getting into stuff, and I guess my mum was into like Charlie Parker and Lionel Hampton and things like that. My dad was a big Leadbelly fan. And Leadbelly, but he was like, you know. How do you do? Okay, so good morning blues. Blues, how do you do? Good morning blues. Blues, how do you do? I'm doing all right. Good morning. How are you? Oh, I'm going folk in here.
Yeah, the blues stuff is amazing.
He says,
yeah, that's incredible stuff.
There was a white man who had the blues when nothing to worry about.
No, it's great. That was great. That was fantastic.
But that's good blues. That's like a hairs on the back of your neck. Even when I was like 8, 9, 10, really picking that. He also wrote the Rock Island line, which became the skiffle anthem by Lonnie Donegan, because the skiffle movement was what the Yardbirds and Led Zeppelin and people started from in England, which is like, well, the Rock Island line is a modified road, and the Rock Island line is a road to ride. Yeah, the Rock Island line is a road to ride. If you want to ride, get your ticket, a decision, go to fight like your butt, the Rock Island line. Do you know that tune? It's like yeah, and
that's where Led Zeppelin pulled a lot of influence from a lot of those guys.
Yeah, exactly. So I was kind of getting all that. But it's the same, and Little Richard, you know, and how I'm, you know, just I think Little Richard really changed the world. He died recently. No one said fuck all. I'm really angry about it. Without him, the world would be a different place. He's the best American export over any beer or any politics, I think.
Yeah, I think that when some of these, you know, historic artists pass away, and it's not front page on Rolling Stone or front page in any. I mean, you think about Little Richard and even Chuck Berry.
Chuck Berry, the guys I was listening to, you know, Maybelline,
exactly.
That's I love that stuff. Still do. That's what I call R&B, by the way. I only recently found out.
No, I think it was the core of it, right? No, I totally agree.
And so I had that stuff, and then I was getting into like the Pink Fairies, which are like a sort of local band, Hawkwind, which is great to learn because it's like so like dampening. You put your palm on the thing there, and it's like kind of space rock, and we were getting high and taking magic mushrooms and stuff like that. And then like Gong, Steve Hillage, and then we were listening to reggae, Zappa, you know. And then at the same time, we were hearing like The Message, you know, and was it Gary Bird, The Crown, and things like that. We were the crown, down, and and it was the 70s, and also Scar came out, and there was loads of skinheads around, and you get beaten up in the streets. The world's much safer now, and it was kind of scary. Football was only guys, and like it was like punk came out, man, and smashed it all. And I love punk, and I love Genesis too. I was like,
the energy of it, yeah. I mean, well, Genesis was a completely totally different band back then. I mean, you know, when you think, because a lot of people think of, you know, some of the top 40 stuff with Genesis, but you know, Genesis was a very much with Peter Gabriel in front and all that stuff was very. I know you're not talking about Genesis the band. You're talking about Genesis at the beginning of it, but
very much so, yeah.
But you know, you talk about like the jam band type of approach. You know, when Peter Gabriel was fronting them, and all those influences, especially in the 80s that you were talking about, all the blues was coming in, all the rock was coming in, and it just created this stew of music in the 80s that really kind of created all these offshoots, these acid jazz offshoots, this R&B, this funk. Funk was already out there, but now it was taking a different type of, you know, technology slant.
The funk we know now that's come back was kind of just like disappearing into the ether of the past, and it really was like the London guys, those bunch of guys, really kind of like went nuts on digging it up again, and then hip hop was trying to find the samples. So that's kind of what made the acid jazz scene and that whole scene kind of get global, you know. And it did hit Japan and it hit Europe and everything.
Yeah, I know a lot of hip hop artists actually steal clips from you guys regularly, don't they?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. You know, it's like finding beats and loops and samples. So then, before the Heavies started, I had my first band was called Coke Bottle Willie.
Okay, you got to send me some clips of that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things. It's only recorded on cassette. There's no video cameras. There's nothing.
I have cassette players over here.
Yeah. And,
no, you don't have to do it right now. I'm just saying.
It was kind of more rock. It was kind of all open chords and but we had a couple of cool things with the wah-wah.
That's where all people start music, is doing the open chords, though. That's
It's like, the bass was. I know, yeah, right. Changes in it, stuff like that. And we also had this cool one was like I had the only one,
right?
And the bass was, and then we started getting into the slap because we were listening to like Spectrum, Billy Cobham. We were like listening to this far out music, like fusion and rock and reggae. Man, we were lucky to be around before. You know, in a way, I mean, the computer and stuff, because you don't get drum rolls anymore. Just like Sabbath, Love Sabbath.
Yeah, I kind of feel like all music nowadays. I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how old you are now, but you know, I'm 52. So to have that ability to be able to grow up in the 70s and hear all that great music, still hear what your parents were listening to back from the 60s, and kind of drawing from that, and then drawing from the 70s as you're a kid. And then doing
music was like Boogie Wonderland in the background.
Oh yeah.
The majestic and mighty Earth, Wind and Fire were just as an aside. Fucking hell, you know.
It's like the fact that they were where they were. I mean, the reason why Earth, Wind and Fire got so big was because nobody was doing anything like that. It was like, what is this massive sound? Holy cow! There's so much.
The Freak came out. I bought Le Freak, and I don't know why, because it's really off my general listening patterns, but I couldn't believe freak out. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, well, you know, you do a little, production work from once Niles stepped onto the scene, things kind of changed a little bit. He just
him and Bernard, really, I think he probably felt completely lost and was ever grateful for continuing on, because he seems like a very humble and grateful guy. You know, his book is great.
Everybody has real specific stuff. Nile Rodgers had a very, very specific sound that kind of permeated through all of his music. Anything that he touched kind of had that sound to it, and he kind of pigeonholed that whole disco chicken. It was just Anyways, let's talk about the brand new Heavies, because one of the things when we started, we were talking. I was mentioning that I've been a fan since the beginning, and obviously I have you have a variety of different vocalists that happen over the day, but it's pretty obvious who my favorite vocalist is out of the mix. Obviously Davenport all the way, right?
Davenport, yeah.
But you have, I mean, all of your vocalists are phenomenal, but everybody just kind of has their own little quirk, just like everybody had. That was one of the reasons why I was so happy when you guys came to Atlanta with her. I was like, yes, oh my gosh, it's happening. But what is the process that you go in? Because I mean, I look at the laundry list of women that you've had on board. I mean, from India and Nicole Russo and Sai and Angela and Dawn Joseph and Carlene. What is the process that you guys go through in deciding, who's going to best fit the project as you're kind of moving forward? Is it creating the music first and then feeling like, maybe she's a better fit, or what's the process that you go through?
Well, they've all been actually quite different, actually, because we made our first album and with an English singer on it, the blue with the logo, and then Paul Moshe from Delicious Vinyl heard it, and they made a stack of dough from the Funky Cold Medina with Tone Loc, and they were like an independent, and they signed us up and added and then Dia re-sung these songs. We added Never Stop, and that's what's got us going. So she was signed to Delicious Vinyl to make her own record, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got tied up with the brand new Heavies. She eventually did sign to Virgin and make her own album.
Yep, this is Delicious vinyl. You're right. This is Delicious.
Oh, that is DB, her solo, is it?
Yeah, this is her solo album.
Oh,
And it's got, that's her. Yeah, and it does actually have the Delicious logo there in the corner.
Okay, all right, yeah. I thought it was Virgin for some reason. Something with Richard Branson.
Well, it also has a V2 next to it, so maybe that is a Virgin. Maybe it's they were the distributor or whatever. But
I went to see her play in London, and Richard Branson was there.
And wow, did you get a chance to get on his private jet and him take you touring?
No, but it was the same venue that I saw Ian Jury and the Blockheads in before Ian Jury died.
Gotcha.
It was the record was great, but then live that band is just like, oh my god!
Right. All right. So what is the process of deciding who's who?
And then after, so ND has gone and made her own record. So we're without a singer. So we're like we let's keep writing and stuff. So we were writing with various people, and Saida was in town, London town, and we started writing with her. And it was like, she's really fun, Saida. She's kind of crazy and she's lovely. You know, she like cooks and does all sort of extra stuff. She's like Bartholomew. Got lots of Michael Jackson stories, very interesting. Nothing incriminating. And so we were like, let's join the band, you know. So she joined the band. And she wasn't really happy with the whole setup and everything like that. And I still, she was kind of treated a bit bad. I don't know. She just moved on from that. But she's a great songwriter. You know, she's written on the new album, and she's. It all sounds so she's written on the new album, but you know, it's just so nice and easy making music for us. Right. I'm lucky. And then so she's gone, and then who was next? We were working with Carlene. I think after that, we made a whole album with Carlene. Pretty much a whole album. We never finished, or never put out. I don't know what happened there. There's a load of tunes with her, like an unheard Carlene Anderson album.
So you got to get it out. I mean,
it's just like drums, bass, and keyboards and guitar, no horns. We've got to get it out, yeah. And then it was Cy Smith. Was it a whole album with her? There's a few albums that was in the middle where Jan was getting a bit unhappy with the whole setup, and you could see it wasn't really like. We started like writing on a little computer and using samples and stuff, and you know, you can sort of hear really the whole vibe of the whole thing isn't really like flourishing as it should and as it had. And then Nicole came in the scene, and that was a little bit like Jan was going out with Nicole kind of a thing, and that didn't make us too happy, as that seemed like possibly the reason she was in the band. And then that scene broke up, and then is it Dawn?
I think so. You would feel better than me on that one.
Jan and Dawn become an item again, you know, so we have a sort of...
Jan seems like a troublemaker.
He's actually a very sweet, nice guy, you know.
He's like the Mick Fleetwood of the band.
There's something going on there, yeah. You know, but... and he did leave in a bit of a naughty way, you know. He did try and leave like seconds before a show, and then he kind of like... We had subsequent shows, and he tried to take those shows over. But he left, and we didn't leave, you know. So in the end, we fulfilled these shows. And
so he quit the band. I thought you were talking about he just left us.
Yeah, he quit the band with the singer like 2 days before a show.
Okay.
It was being recorded and was in Switzerland with the Zap after Roger Troutman and this big Swedish sort of soul singer. Also, it was already on pre-sale. A live album was on pre-sale in Japan. So we had to do this show, and everything went wrong. So we got there, and we flew Ndia from Japan. It cost the promoter thousands, but we said, I have to do this. And we got Ndia back in. No rehearsal. This is the set list. Do the songs like this. You know, listen to it on the way from the last recording of the last gig that we can use. And then we were supposed to record it all for this Japanese album, but they set the channels up for the band before us or something like that.
Right. The levels were all messed up.
We only had like bass on its own, but fortunately, because India had in-ears, you have like your mic going into that, and you need a bit of a couple of mics that record the audience, otherwise you can't hear anyone.
Right. It just sounds like you're practicing.
It's a bit like, you're like in something like that where you have the ambience outside. So what we use that to mix the album. So a lot of adversity, and then then we spoke. I just called it acid jazz one day to say, "Hey, how you doing?" or something, and they were like, Eddie Pitter in his usual rude way, it's like, "Oh, are you free at the moment from a deal? Oh, we wanted Jamiroquai, but you'll do." And he said, "Jamiroquai," it's kind of like that.
Oh, so, thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah. So we got back with acid jazz, kind of the full cycle, and and made an album that took a bit longer than we wanted it to, but we all got kids now and stuff, and
right.
We wanted to make it really nice, so we sort of put some good horns on there and stuff, and some real strings and everything like that.
Yeah, that's
and
nice.
People are really saying the album is like up there with the first two albums, so it's after a kind of dip in some sort of, I don't say quality, but I'd say some sort of energy or what we should have been doing, in my mind.
Yeah,
it's more like what we're doing now,
Yeah, I know, because India's been through a lot. I mean, I know she almost lost her house in New Orleans during that whole debacle. It was
9/11. She was like there, like walking a dog, watching it all happen and stuff. It's like traumatized by the world.
It's unfriggin' real. So, tell me about Tuna Day. What the hell is Tuna Day?
Oh, right. A Tuna Day. When I was saying, like, people would learn from like the Shadows, and a guy called Bart Whedon, who was a bit of a looser version, doing these like all these like Kontiki and ding 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 albatross ding 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 ding. It's a Fleetwood Mac tune,
Right, yeah.
And also alongside that, you'd have that, and you'd have a tune a day, which is like you'd learn a tune a day, so you'd be dang 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 dang.
Learn a tune a day. Okay.
Dang 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 dang. It's not tuna day. Let's all eat some tuna. It was like learn a tune a day.
I kept seeing you post. I was like, "What is Tuna Day?" Yeah, I do know. That's great. Okay.
So that's a tuna day.
That's Tuna Day. Okay. So whenever you guys see on Twitter where it says tuna, T-U-N-A, day, that's
it's
I was like, I'm going to feel stupid asking. I know he's going to explain it, and I'm going to feel like,
where did you hear that?
But it's okay.
Is that in my something on Wikipedia or something?
No, you always. Matter of fact, it was a Twitter post that you did. I think you randomly occasionally you'll just come out and just say Tuna Day on Twitter, and it's like, I don't know what that means.
I get like literally, I post on Twitter when I do interviews. People say, "Oh, let's do a bit of research. Let's check his Twitter feed," and I've never considered it as how it represents me, because mainly I repost from dust to digital. Do you know that? It's worth following.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Yeah.
Stuff like blues and old country singers and celebrate their birthdays and things like that. It's like really awesome.
Yeah, because I mean, one of the things I learned
berry pipe in the Amazon or something. Go on, yeah.
No, I was just saying one of the things I found out was your work with what is it, the Soulphonics? Is that what you doing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the Supersonics.
Yeah,
so tell me about that.
Well, that's this guy Dom Glover, who's like a great trumpet player. He played with the Heavies and he's played with the Incognito and a bunch of bands. Done a lot of touring. He's kind of one of the go-to musos sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Also known as the Stella Horns because they used to drink a lot of Stella Artois. and and he's an insane vinyl collector. Anyway, his brother has a studio, and they make like library music and stuff. And they decided to put this band together, and they asked me to come and be in the band. You know, we never really gigged, but we did some, made an album, and it's quite a nice record. It's sort of, you know, kind of, it's to grid and stuff, but it's got live drums and bass and stuff. Gary Crockett from the James Taylor Quartet, you know, back in the day, and people like that. They're all mates, and so it's kind of like in like a kind of souped up disco-fied sort of thing. Yeah.
So you sat in on one of their songs, or are you sitting on like an entire album?
The whole album? Yeah,
I'm on the whole album. Great.
Yeah, cool. Super fun. Yeah, I also have another band called Akimbo, and we have another album in the pipeline, in the making.
Oh, nice.
And that was when the Heavies started. We used to jam a lot and hang out, and I used to really enjoy just jamming for hours and hours. And then it became more like about songwriting, and let's get a song, and then we're all competing. Who's going to get the song? Who's going to get the single or whatever? So I started I had the opportunity to play this other dude. He got me in, and I got my old friend from Colt Bottle Willie in, and we made a tune called On Top. And I had some time, and Acid Jazz had their own studio in like Old Tin Pan Alley in Denmark Street, where a lot of Acid Jazz records are made. And I was working on my solo album, which is like, the idea was a 3-piece, kind of like the Cream Hendrix, but like funky rock. And this is before Lenny Kravitz, so it's like a bit funky, a bit rocky. But I put that on hold about 30 years ago. I will finish it. I've sent it to someone to start mixing it. I'm
going to hold you to that.
Yeah, and I'll be back in touch to promote. And so we started doing this band called Akimbo, and the great thing about Akimbo is like we'd have a little jam from the guy's bedroom. We just write in the studio on the spot, like let's just go. We're in here, let's go to C, and then we like literally just we got a little groove, and then we just like I'd go like, okay, change to, and we know what the change was. So we made
change to what?
Yeah, well, see, try to see. And there was one, and we made a new album. We made all the backing tracks in like 2.5 days, I think we had in the studio. And the bass player is quite impatient, and the keyboards are breaking down a bit because they're all like old proper things, you know. And so we have this cassette or these little dictaphone ideas. So we'd play one. I really want to do this one. I'd been listening to it like a little groove, a little pattern we all got, the drum pattern. Right. So and they were like, okay, let's go for it. And then someone said, what about a change? Oh yeah. So let's change to see. And I swear we did one take, and we all just went to see without ever having played the music in that section before. I swear on my life. So we just go 3, 4, and go to sing, and it just all worked. We've been playing this kind of music for so long, it kind of can't really go wrong. But that's how that happened. So I'm quite proud of that.
You got lots of stuff in the can. I mean, you have your own personal vault. I mean, Prince had his vault, but you got a vault too. I mean, you've got, you know, that project.
Music, man. I'm fucking. Oh, it kills me. I need to get my own studio really, and because that's freedom. You know, got your own place, and then have it all set up, and you can record when you want. You know what I mean? Without paying or.
Yeah, and then that was the biggest thing with Prince was that he didn't. He just kind of got tired of having to pay for studio time. And on the same note, if he wanted to record at 2:00 in the morning, he could do it. He didn't have to worry about. Yeah, so it's definitely a benefit with having your own studio and being able to do whatever it is that you want to do. Tell me about the Influence Project. What was that about?
The Influence Project is actually this lady and her boyfriend, and he's a photographer, quite a well-known one, and they wanted to capture, I think mainly UK artists or people who live in the UK or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So they photograph a lot of people like Bluey from Incognito. You've seen all the pictures, right?
Right. Yeah. So it's just kind of it's just interesting to, you know, because again, you're one of the pioneers, you're one of the originators, and so I just think that people are kind of drawn to you as far as, you know, that's concerned, and it's cool to have some historical documents and stuff and kind of feel like you're being at least honored in a way to be part of that musical history, especially in the London acid jazz scene. It's just
I mean, certainly we were the sort of like the main act, because acid jazz wasn't a genre; it was just a name of a label first of all.
Right, yeah. But
then it became like a genre. So
it's a genre here in the United States. I mean, I mean, I have CDs over there said this is acid jazz, and it's not talking about a label; it's talking about this genre, the style of music that is essentially like an instrument. What's up, kitty cat?
It's like one of those King Kong Japanese.
Yeah, it looks dangerous.
Yeah. Fluffy. The kids named the cat Fluffy. What can you do? Fluffy, really? Fluffy, you know?
My daughter used to name all of her animals Angel. We're going to call this Fist. Oh, that's Angel. We're going to call it, that's Angel. What's the dog? That's Angel. It's like, no. So let's talk about the brand new Heavies new stuff. You got a new EP coming out. Yeah. I want to be cognizant of your time and everything. You got a new EP out. It's actually really, really cool. I mean, I like the new stuff. You got, and Beautiful is now, we were talking a little bit before we went online, we were talking about vinyl and the fact that you guys now have a 7-inch vinyl of Beautiful that has been distributed. And if I read it correctly, that was the first 7-inch vinyl that you guys have done since 1992.
No doubt, yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. It's like this vinyl resurgence and all this stuff that you have. How do you feel about all this, and just about the vinyl resurgence and how it's?
I think I've got a friend who's obviously kids grow up now with everything's MP3s on the phone. They don't have these devices. You walk over to something and get something and put it in a giant pile of machines. Like imagine the real estate the hi-fi takes up.
Right.
But I saw someone's daughter, like 16 or something. They wanted a record player, because I think there's something nice about the process of that. I still have my vinyl. I still put records on.
Yep.
And I guess it's maybe like cooking. Now and again, you're going to make a sort of more elaborate meal, and then generally you're just cooking like pasta and stuff like that. So maybe that's some metaphor like.
That's the only thing that it was an idea that I actually came up with, and I guess I can kind of document it here, but whenever you put an album on and it gets to the end, that process, when you know that it's ended and you're like, and now you've got to go over there and you got to pump it over.
Clunk.
Yeah, right. Yeah, especially if you don't have the ones that return the needle, right? Yeah, that's the worst.
The other thing in praise of vinyl, it's on my mind, and it's my interview, and you'll probably remember what you're going to say.
Go ahead.
Is that you might put on an album, and you would tend to listen to all the 5-6 tracks in one thing, and you might not like track 3 at first. But you'd listen to it anyway, because you're not going to get up and skip it generally with vinyl. But because you were kind of not forced, listen to this track, but because you were made to listen to that track, it can become your favorite track. Like you might not like the Battle of Evermore by Led Zeppelin, but as you listen to the album over and again, that becomes like one of the most enduring tunes. Right. So you get that, instead of just like, now it seems like I saw a review of an album and it said listen to track 3, track 8, no downloads. So you're just downloading a couple of tracks. You're not really hearing you're not getting the encompassing view of an artist. Is that important anyway? Maybe just
right. Yeah, I think I think it's important to have that audio and just the feel of vinyl. You look like you're frozen. You still with us? You're frozen up. I mean, it's a good view. Let's expand him, and we can focus on his smile right now. If you can hear me, I can't hear you. I think you're frozen up. But look, he's smiling. Looks like he's got a vacuum cleaner in the back there. This camera over here behind him. He's got some brushes and nice paintings and stuff. Probably needs to redo the door. Actually, really, really cool. Simon, if you can hear me, we can't hear you. but we're analyzing. There you are. This one's not near as endearing as the last picture. Now we got a screen capture of you in front of the window. It's kind of going from place to place. Yeah, so still, I guess we kind of lost some of your connection. So we're going to keep on watching and just analyzing everything that's in that room. It's obviously a smaller room. It's a nice shelving unit there with the glass and stuff. Is that a bong over there, Simon? Really cool window. It looks like it is a gray sky, like Simon said. We'll wait for him to reconnect, and we will come back on. While we are sitting here waiting for him to reconnect, he's disconnected. He'll come back on. While we are doing that, here is the information for Brand New Heavies stuff. If you want to go to their website, look at some of their new things and whatnot. Their website, tbnh.co.uk, obviously because UK. Same thing with the Facebook, facebook.com/brandnewheavies. So you can get information on there. They've got a brand new EP out right now. It's very, very cool. And you definitely want to check that out for sure. You absolutely want to check that out. It's good stuff. And they've got vinyl out now too. It's got a vinyl reissue, 7-inch vinyl reissue, not reissue, 7-inch vinyl of the song called Beautiful. And that is pretty awesome because it's not, it's not unusual to, for bands nowadays, especially in that genre of music and the funk genre of music. It's not unusual for bands of the jazz/funk ilk to kind of, there he is.
Hey, man.
And I can't see your face, but it's okay. There you go. I see you.
I see you, baby.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we were just commenting on everything in your room.
I went out of juice and so I had to cut myself loose.
Oh,
yeah.
He's gonna make it up to us by playing us a tune. This is amazing. This is great stuff.
Yeah, let me see now.
Oh no! He's letting down his hair, folks. Here we go. Thank you so much, man.
It's something I'm working on right now. I've been mucking around that for a while. I don't know what's going to happen with it.
Oh man, thank you so much. Well, I know the time is limited, and we're up on the clock, but man, I can't thank you enough for joining us. It's fine. You're a rock and roll star. What are you talking about? It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine.
I shouldn't have started something I couldn't handle.
That's amazing.
What do you play? You play the guitar? You play some bass or something?
Yeah, well, I tinker around on piano a little bit, but I'm mostly a vocalist. Yeah, so
Nice, all right.
yeah. It's just, but man, it's an honor to actually see you in such a raw environment. It's just really, really cool. And it's
how do you usually see me in some kind of like
normally in a band scenario with kind of being part of a project. It's kind of see you doing solo work without. Yeah, it's just nice.
Do you know do you want to sing a song? Are we in time?
What song are you playing?
I'm zipping up my boots.
I know that one.
Back to my roots.
Zipping up my boots, going back to my roots. I don't know the lyrics. I'll have to pull out the lyrics. We're gonna definitely have to plan this because absolutely, yeah.
I'll never plan it. Just take acid.
Oh, so you were just making up on the spot? Okay.
It's like the harmony song "Down by the River." Do you know that song?
Which there's lots of them.
I'll be on your side, baby. There's no need for you to be afraid. It's impossible for me to sit here all alone when you could be letting me alright. Ooh, shine like the weather. She could take me over the rainbow. I could be close from. Yeah, take me away. Down by the river. Shut by baby.
Classic rock.
Down by the river. Took my hand, child, took your hand, holding. Get away, get away. There's much sadness, is too much sorrow. When you could be with me for the night, baby. Shining like a river. She could take me over the rainbow. You take me away. Above the river. Oh, summer, baby.
I would much rather just listen to you just do it. That's amazing.
Well, that's I heard that first through Buddy Miles.
Right.
Nice live album on it, and it's nice harmonies. So I just went off on my thing, but if you know the song, it's like "Be on my side, be on my side," like a tandem harmony. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's one of the songs that was. Some of the stuff that I was more familiar with on the classic rock side things you were mentioning, Jethro Tull and, Moody Blues and things like that. That was really kind of my, and of course on this side, Steve Miller Band and guys like that. But man, it's really an honor to hear you do, especially a lot of the really cool, classic rock type of songs, because that is classic music, and none of the music that we kind of do now or that's playing on the radio now we're even going to hear 20 years from now. But those songs that found their core in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and even into the 80s, those are going to be the core songs that will continue to stand the test of time. And it's an honor to actually.
Yeah. The core funk is what I think is always going to be really important. Like those those early grooves. It's just like phenomenal to hear it like unfolding. You know, like the song "The Funky Drummer" by James Brown, the most sampled snare sound.
Yeah,
you actually hear him. You hear James Brown during the recording say, you hear him because the pattern's he's developed during the song, and James Brown goes, "Hold on a minute," and he names the song. The name of this song is going to be called "The Funky Drummer." Let's give the drummer some. But he says, "Don't turn it loose. Don't go do a little like you would do in like a drum."
Just runs. Yeah, the Clyde Stubblefield was he loved doing that. Yeah, Stubblefield was one of those guys.
Don't turn it loose. Hold it down because it's a mother. And then it goes into oh man, that break. That's like up there. That's like a rhythmic conclusion of. I figured it out once. I nearly because it's about moving your body, you know, as much as anything.
Yeah, it's tricky. There's definitely rhythm in your shoulders and your elbows to kind of make that happen to flow correctly. But
yeah.
It's been an honor, Simon. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Maybe next time we'll be able to get Andrew on the line with us too. So I've got a line of questions for him. But when you are ready to release that, was it Akimbo? Is that what the album is? Or
yeah. Shall I give you a shout?
Yeah, definitely let me know. I want to talk about it, and we will prep ahead of time. We will figure out a song or two to do together so that we're prepped, and we'll do it. Yeah. I promise you.
Because I may be really interesting, but if I was watching like Bootsy Collins or someone, I'd love to hear him play it a bit as well. You know,
that was an amazing surprise. Thank you so much. I can't even.
I don't care. I made a mistake. It all sounds shit, but I don't give it.
It sounded fantastic. That's part of the awesomeness of it. That's part of the raw feeling. And you know, so for those of you who tuned in, the mighty, the amazing, the legendary. Here he is, right there. There he is. He's right there. Simon Bartholomew. Simon B. Heavy. I think on Twitter. Simon B. Heavy. Simon B. Heavy. The address is down there. You can visit the website, and you can also visit the Facebook site as well. And get that EP, download it. If you want to do some orders on that 7-inch for Beautiful, do that as well. I think there's a new lyric video and everything.
Oh, I've got some hot news. Yeah, I made that lyric video. What do you think?
Oh, it's hot news. Yeah, I saw that. It was actually like, I guess in the background was like a close-up of the album cover for TBNH.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you look really close, you can see the patterns. Yeah.
I wanted to get it out quite quick because we were supposed to be releasing it as a single. And I found this really cool technique. You get like a dry marker board and you write on the dry marker board and you put it into like, I've got Final Cut, which I've never used. First time I've used it. And you like reverse the brightness and the darkness, and it makes it white. And then you do this other thing which takes all the color out, so you just get the white lettering. So you just film in the letters, and it looks really organic. I was quite pleased with it.
Yeah, whose handwriting is that? Or is that just like a fun? Yeah, really, it was really nice. Really nice. I like how you did the F. I like how you did the F in Beautiful. I know it's just standard. But for some reason, the way that you do the F, it's kind of like it's really nice. It's really
nice. It's a bit exaggerated into like being a bit more flouncy and like a bit more like, you know, foppish.
Right.
Because it looks nice. It kind of looks like a sort of poem, doesn't it? Like it's kind of fits the song, I think, quite nicely.
Right.
But the news is on the 3rd of July, 2020, at 8 p.m. British Standard Eastern London, UK time. Probably about 9 or 10 in America somewhere. We're doing a live concert from a place called Under the Bridge without
London.
Full distance. Yeah. And
right. I heard about that. Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah. That's what I'm here to do. I just wanted to say that and leave. And I did all that.
I'm glad that we missed, because that was another question. That was another question that I was going to ask you was, you know, I see that you guys have locked down some tour dates in London for the end of 2020, starting in October of 2020.
Yeah.
And you know what, how that gets approved and what the process you got to go through. Are you still feeling a little bit apprehensive about it as time gets closer, or, what's the,
Well, we're sort of working with our agents and the people really like with their pulse, finger on the pulse of all. People are starting to do shows in the UK in September and October. And recently, like, you're allowed like to go around to people's houses, have 6 people, but you got to go to the garden and you have to go to the toilet first. You know how crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, apparently in America, in one state, you can go to the beach, but you can't go in the sea. In another state, you can go in the sea, but you can't hang out on the beach because of the virus. It just doesn't make sense. Anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But it drives me crazy to see these people driving in their cars with masks on. And it's like, you're in your car by yourself. What is going on? Or the people that are jogging down the street with masks on. It's like, what do you expect me to happen? I'm going to jump out of the bushes and cough in your face. I don't understand what's happening. It's just weird.
Well, it's a bit like sort of, you know, being a criminal. You go down to like the little store, the corner store, and then like you've got the mask on, and you've got your sawn-off shotgun. You know, because everyone's incognito. It's great for dealers.
Yeah,
you're doing a bit of weed on the corner, you know, and they've got cameras there. They're not going to recognize you. You've got the mask on.
Right. Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's the whole world is weird. So
yeah. I'm in so many minds about it, but I have been following the guidelines and everything, you know.
Yeah, it's,
you know, it just
things have started to loosen up here in the States. I don't know how it is over there, but in the States, it's just
I'm pretty glad to see people actually protesting and stuff like that against, you know.
Yeah, well, that's happening over there too, correct?
Yeah. I mean, with quite a sort of, the police can be quite an intimidating and heavy presence, and so it's a bit scary, you know. I sort of, yeah. But there has been, with the Black Lives Matter as well, there's been a lot of you know, people protesting about that as well, and it's good. It's about time. We need to end it. There's people are saying this could be the generation that ends all the shit, you know.
Yeah,
that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, the world's definitely in a different place, but you know, in the music world. In our world in general, we've never kind of felt like we were in any type of, you know, unusual space. But then, you know, I can't imagine what it's like for, you know, for Black citizens just to kind of deal with that type of ongoing racism, and that it permeates everything. And because, you know, we're white, we don't see a lot of that. It's just, these are things that are happening to them that we're just not even, in some cases, privy to. I mean, I've been in scenarios where I have seen it, but it's definitely something that needs to change in society. And I'm glad we're kind of at that point where we're at a breaking point now. So that's good. And, but nobody knows what this finish line is going to look like. What does it look like when we're on the other side of this?
Yeah.
So that's kind of,
well, I think it's nothing. Rome wasn't built in a day. Nothing happens overnight, you know. But certainly constant, like, and like bearable awareness of it, and like, you know, understanding, and people, you know, the gang should be the people that are down with each other, and and they should have the nod and the wink, and that's the good thing, and then swell in numbers with trust and love, and then if there's you know, powers that be doing stuff, then it's got to be
I think we're a couple of generations away from a solution. I honestly do.
But I think we're on I like to think we're on the way, you know, like inclusion, opportunity.
Oh, we're definitely on the way. I think we've made a lot of progress, even though, you know, probably from the Black community doesn't feel like that, but there definitely has been progress. But it's not nearly enough progress for sure.
No.
But things are coming. And they're actually starting to make active and very prominent changes. So it's, you know, I'm looking forward to it because, yeah, I believe in equality across the board, and it's frustrating. I know how frustrating it is for them, and it's frustrating for folks like me too, and you. It's like, what what are we supposed to do? What exactly is it that we're supposed to be doing right now as white people to help this process along? That is going to be appreciated and not feel like we're kind of overstepping our boundaries.
I think that,
it's challenging.
It starts on your doorstep, man. You can't be out there shouting things and just go home and think you've changed the world. It's how everyone just lives day to day with each other. It's grassroots, baby. It's just a nod and a smile and a wink and I think that's where it all happens.
Yeah.
It's almost, So there's so many WhatsApp groups, there's so many things like, going home and protest and everything, going home. Won't save the problem. It's just general living. I think I got that from him, and I think he's kind of right.
Well, the one commonality that we have that is a healing and amazing level playing ground is music. So that's the one thing that's the one thing that's been a blessing in most people's lives, and you guys are some of the legends in this process and this healing process.
I want to create more legendary stuff. I want to make more stuff.
I'm waiting for it. Waiting for this. Waiting for that. The project for the one that you said Carlene was on. You guys have a whole entire album that has Carlene on it. You got an Akimbo project. You got all this stuff that we're waiting for. When it comes out, I'm ready.
Solo album. That's a bit odd, yeah.
That's even more amazing. So there's all this stuff, and we better be on the list. Funkatopia better be on the list.
Yeah, for sure.
That stuff.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
Dude, it's been great. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
A wonderful afternoon.
It's been incredible. This has just been amazing, and I look forward to talking to you guys again. And definitely make sure that you reach out to me.
Yeah. Try and get hold of Andrew. Write to Andrew and say, do you want to do it another time?
Yeah, absolutely. But it was incredible talking to you, and thank you so much for the live performances and whatnot. Cheers. It's been amazing.
Yeah, we'll work something out next time. We'll do make some mess.
Yes, absolutely. We're gonna do a little live performance. But Simon and myself will do a live performance. I'll actually show you guys. We're gonna break it out. Yeah, just send me a list. Send me a list of songs you want me to take a look at, and we'll do it. It's on.
Oh, my falsetto's coming on.
All right, Simon. Have a good day, brother.
Good luck, there. Take care. Good night, America.
Good night.
Goodbye.
See you later, brother.
See you later, man. Bye.
All right.